Welcome to the Ready Writers. I'm Becky DeWitt, and this is the place for the opportunity for authors where words are the possibility to create an opportunity. We like to interview the unknown. We like to bring them to the forefront. Tonight, we have someone very special with us. It is Dr. Cathine Scott. Welcome, Dr. Scott.
Well, thank you, Ms. DeWitt, and I'm very happy to be here because I am always happy to talk about my book.
All right. What you don't know is that Dr. Scott is an educator. She is the president and the CEO of G&H Educational Associated Incorporated. They provide counseling, they provide training, leadership for educators. And if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Scott, you were Dean of Education at Cheney. And
once upon a time, yes.
Yes.
And Claflin University and Morris College before I retired. However, I have come out of retirement because I did not like the word retired. So I came out of retirement and went back to work. And of course, I'm still teaching, training teachers, which is my forte, developing young teachers, trying to make them to be good teachers. And of course, at the risk of sounding immodest, I want to say I wrote a book about I want to be a teacher. And this book describes my life as a teacher. And I point out to young people, especially young teachers, what they can do to be a better teacher in the classroom, even today, with all of the things that are going on. So after writing that particular book, I looked around and said, what am I going to do next? Yes. Then I met Ms. DeWitt and another colleague of mine, Mrs. Noble, and they put fire under my feet to say, you need to continue writing. Yes. So of course, what did I do? I wrote the book for women only. What is that all about? Yes. Well, you know, women are so busy these days. Many of them don't have time to sit down and do a lot of reading. So I wrote a quick book called a self-help book to tell you how to organize yourself. Some of the things that you can do to keep yourself organized while you're on the run. We talked about how you enhance your beauty. All women are beautiful, but some of us need to know how to enhance it a little better. Yes. I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to stop so Mrs. DeWitt can ask some questions. All right. Thank you.
Dr. Scott, we're having so much fun. I want to go back to your first book. When I met you, I Want to Be a Teacher. And I think that book, yes, is very important right now because of the times that we're in and how society is going. Not everybody wants to be a teacher. And the thing about being a teacher, not every person that is teaching currently can see the gifts that are in children to pull them out. You know, I'm just going to say this, back in the day, someone could see what the child had in them and would gear them in the right direction. So this young generation, and they want everything just quick. What is, I would say, an advice that you would give from somebody just coming out of college, but they have the fire, they want to teach, but sometimes they get into the classroom and the way things are going in society, and it puts a change in their heart. What would you say to them? Give me at least 3 things.
Okay, first of all, I would say, if you want to be a teacher, then you prepare yourself to be a teacher and be good at it while you are learning how to be a teacher. So when you do graduate, you can send applications all over the country. And then you choose the job that most wants you. And that's what I did many, many years ago. And when the school district wants you and you end up at a school in which the principal wants you and you do a good job, you are not going to have a problem that many teachers have. We hear a lot about the fact that teachers are not being supported. Well, back in my day, we didn't worry about, quote, the principal supporting us because we controlled our own classroom. And a lot of teachers don't know the best way to control your classroom is get the parents involved. Huh?
Okay, yes.
Get those parents involved because every parent thinks his Johnny and his Susan are good students, whether they are or not. But if you get the parents involved, so when I first started teaching many years ago, that after I was assigned to a school in Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, at a school in a very, very, very poor neighborhood. But I treated those kids just like they were rich.
Yes.
All right. I found a way to take a group of first graders to Orlando, Florida, to visit the Space Center down there. And I had, out of 30 kids going, I had 15 parents going. So what did that mean? I didn't have to worry because the parents were there to take care of their own child and maybe one other. So you get the parents involved. You get them involved, you can do no wrong. All right. I learned very early, don't send any students to the office. Ha ha. Today you have teachers sending students to the office in a minute. That says to the principal, you can't control your class. So when I walked into my classroom many, many years ago, some of the older teachers took me by the hand and said, I was Mrs. Gilchrist at that time. Mrs. Gilchrist, the first thing you need to know is do not send the children to the office. Handle them yourself. So I learned that when children know you like them, they are not going to be bad.
Yes.
When children know that you love them and you're concerned about their learning and you got aligned to their parents. Back in my day, you could go visit, but I don't know about visiting today.
Yes.
What I do know, you can email the parents, you can text the parents, you can call them, you can have an afternoon tea and invite them in so that you can find out more about their children. And parents will tell you, oh my Lord, just ask, tell me about your child. They will definitely do that. So young teachers, you have to kind of think not so much modern that you got to send the kids to the office. You got to like the kids, because if you like the kids know when you like them. And if you like them, they will do your work. Believe it or not, I'm teaching a bunch of college students now today that some people have said, oh, they can't learn by Zoom. I said, oh, yes, they can. Virtual learning, many times people just push the work out to the students and they do nothing and wait for the students to kind of do it on their own. Well, in my class today, like tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., I will be Zooming with about 15 prospective teachers. And first of all, they better come on Zoom. They better come in there dressed up, no head rags on, no like they in their pajamas. They must look basically the way a college student is supposed to look. And that's
ma'am.
So they can't understand how I make the kids do that. Well, when kids know you like them and you're concerned about them, they will do whatever you want them to do. So I could go on with Mr. DeWitt and talk and talk and talk. So I'm gonna stop and let you ask some more questions.
You know what?
Because now I'm talking about what I, all right, thank you.
You're talking about what you love.
Yes.
Scott, you just gave so much wisdom in what you just said. And one of the things I loved is how you talked about what is going on in society with the change because of the pandemic, with the virtual learning. And you said you have to come prepared, you have to come dressed, no head rags. In other words, what I glean from that is that you are preparing them for the world. You have to dress for success. You just can't come up in my class. Dr. Scott, I know your class. You just can't. And listen, and then another thing, Dr. Scott, they got to be on time. I see that too.
Oh yes.
No tardiness.
They got to be on time. And see, I work with them in addition to teaching the content of curriculum development or curriculum instruction and assessment. I'm also teaching them how to survive in society. All right.
Yes.
You first of all, you have to be on time. You have to speak well. You have to dress as a professional. All right.
Yes.
Because believe it or not, in my book on For Women Only, it talks about how you look is how people perceive you, and how they perceive you is how they treat you. All right.
That's absolutely.
So I say to young teachers today, first of all, you finish the program. Some people start and they never finish. Yes, I know in the state of South Carolina where I live, and in many other states across the country, they require teachers to pass an exam to get into a teacher preparation program. But I say, prepare yourself. I recall when I was studying to work on my doctorate, I had to take the GRE and the Miller's Analysis. What did I do? That book, those two books became my Bible, because I knew I was going to get a doctorate, and it was hard work. So you have to put in the time. You can't party all night on Friday and Saturday and take an exam on Monday morning. Okay? Oh, no. Yes, I have to throw this in too as I'm talking. I have a daughter who is now in grad school working on her MBA. And I am so happy because I had been talking about for 20 years for her to work on her MBA, and she wouldn't do it. Well, finally she decided. And now she said, oh, I can't party on Saturday night anymore because I got work to do. And I said,
no, yes, you can't.
You
got to study to show yourself approved.
You got to study, as the Bible says, you have to study. That's right. And the professor will know whether you are capable of doing the work by the way you write. So you can't always write the way you talk. All right. And a lot of our kids coming to college today will write papers the way they talk. And those are F papers. Because when you write, you have to proofread. Sister DeWitt, I could go on and on and on and talk for 10 hours about why you should buy my book, I Want to Be a Teacher. It outlines to you as a young teacher what you can do to survive in today's classroom. Some of the things I just said. It also tells you how to go from being a good teacher to a great teacher.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, yes. And it talks about my life. I had wanted to be a teacher from, I guess, 3 or 4 or 5 years of age, because back in the day in my neighborhood, I taught the other kids, and I always taught math. All right. But nobody likes math. All right. But I said, math is easy, but you have to put the time in to work it. All right. And understand it. Everybody uses math every day. Mathematics is not hard. Anything is hard if you don't know it. That's true. But if you understand it, it's easy. So anyway, I better stop here because I'm going on and on and on and on.
That's okay. But listen, I want to ask you a question. Something that you said earlier about with the virtual learning, and teachers are just putting the information out there and expecting the response from the student. I know from getting my master's in education that there are different learning styles.
Yes.
So I think it's about 5, if I'm not mistaken. Learning styles.
5 basic ones, yes.
Yeah, the basics. So what advice would you give for teachers or anybody watching this video? Because you just can't stand and lecture when you got kids in a class with different learning styles. So how would you give them a piece of advice to adapt for that?
Well, okay, this is what I tell my young teachers, especially in my curriculum course. You have to teach to meet everybody's learning style. Well, Dr. Scott, that's difficult. No, it isn't. First of all, when you first start teaching, you need to assess your students to find out where they are. Yes. Now, if the majority of the class knows what you're going to teach about, you have to either choose another topic or you have to now apply it to the real world. For example, and I always give this quick example. If you are teaching kids about how to design a newspaper, well, basic newspapers have certain things in them. So everybody needs to learn how to design a basic newspaper. Then those that are not so smart, let them design a basic newspaper to tell the news of their community. Well, now the next level of students, you will say to them, can you take this newspaper and design one that's different from this particular one, which you are now using as your guide. Now, when you get to your super smart students, you say to them, design a newspaper that looks like the Wall Street Journal, maybe, or design one that's never been created before. Use your creativity. But the bottom line is everybody is learning about a newspaper. It's just that those that can do on the basic level learn to do the basic of the newspaper. So you can read the local newspaper. Then you move up to, let's say, the Washington Post and the New York Times. So the second level students can design something similar to that. Then you move on up to the Wall Street Journal, which is a totally different paper written on a much higher level than your local newspaper. So then you get those who are gifted or very, very smart and who are bored, because normally when kids are bored, it's because the work is too easy. Yeah. Right? I recall, and I'm not bragging, at the risk of sounding immodest, I had one child who was in 5th grade, or actually all through. She finished her work quick because guess what? She had a mommy at home who was a teacher. So when she went to class, she already knew the stuff, right? Yes. So that means the teacher got to do something different. So we'll be giving her work and she would finish real quick and start talking. So the teacher would call me and say, Miss Gilchrist, your daughter talks all the time. I said, okay, let's look at what's happening in the classroom. See, I'm a teacher now, so I know what should go on in the classroom. So I said to her, okay, you are giving her work that's too easy. You may have to move her to a higher level of doing work and let her apply some of those skills that she knows. You can't give her just to write a paragraph on why she wants to go to college. She has to do some research on why people go to college, which means that she can't write that paper in 5 seconds because she got to do the research first. So I say to teachers, when you talk about learning style, first of all, you start teaching at the concrete level. All right. If you notice, I started at the concrete level, the basic newspaper. Then you go to the semi-concrete, which would be, I would call a higher level newspaper. Then you get to the abstract level. The students now are designing a newspaper that they haven't ever seen before. So they have to use their own vision and their own creativity to come up with the newspaper. You see? So that if you teach using those, and I do that all the time, even with the college level, I start with the basic book. Then we move up. Then at the end, they have to do some research. All right. So when you get to the research level, that's very, very abstract. So I say to young teachers, you teach at 3 levels at all times: concrete, semi-concrete, and abstract. All right. And if you're thinking about mathematics, let's say you're doing some mathematics, the very basic level would be trying to teach them the addition facts or the timetables. All right. But nobody really does that anymore as such because you got a calculator. And and the truth of the matter, nobody has to figure out how much 8 times 7 is anymore.
Just hit the calculator.
You got it right there with you on your phone, everywhere you go. All right. But my older people, I shouldn't say that, but my old friends, whom I don't think I'm old, all right, I'll say to them, but things have changed now. You can't do that the way you did it when you were teaching. But they'll say, yes, you got to learn the multiplication tables. No, you don't. Every child in the world got a cell phone. All right. So then, of course, now when you get to the super smart kids, you give them some problem solving. You give them some problems to solve that might be 2 and 3 steps to get to the right answer. You know what I mean? So now you're still teaching from the concrete to the semi-concrete to the abstract. So that's my basic advice to new teachers.
I like that, Dr. Scott, because you brought creativity and vision, 2 words that were very important in that using the newspaper. So in other words, whatever the child's gift was, there was also the ability and the opportunity to bring it out rather than just giving them information and say, do this, do that, the other. That, you know, you had to have them think for themselves. And in that thinking for themselves what was in them would come forth. And then that would come forth, and it also would tell the level that they're at, and you can discern and tell which way they need to go for the next level. So I love that. I mean, the teachers need that. I mean, now
they need to know. And I always say to young teachers too, you need to know three things. You need to know the level below your if you're an elementary school teacher, and let's say you're teaching first grade, you need to know what's happening in the kindergarten class. Then you need to know what's happening in the second grade class. So you've got three levels that you need to know something at all times. Now, if you're teaching sixth grade, you need to know what goes on in the fifth grade class and a seventh grade class. Once upon a time in my life, I was the principal of the Hampton University Laboratory School on the campus.
Oh, okay.
And so I had this big idea. I call myself a visionary at the risk of sounding immodest and a transformational leader. Yes. So my fifth grade kids, the school went from 3-year-olds to fifth grade. Well, I had the teachers move their fifth graders up to sixth grade, but they were in fifth grade, but doing sixth grade work. Wow. So at the end of the year, when it was time for those kids to go to the sixth grade to the middle school, they had to take a test. Well, they scored so high on the test, the superintendent called me. He said, "What's going on over there?" I said, "I got bright kids. I got smart kids." Well, they were supposed to go to what you call general math in the sixth grade. I called the parents in. I said, "Listen, there's no point in your kids taking in the sixth grade math. They know that, because if you notice, I skipped the fifth grade because the fifth grade and sixth grade are not that much difference. Maybe you might be multiplying three numbers by three numbers. And at the sixth grade level, you might multiply four numbers by four numbers. Well, if you can do three, you can also do four, and you can problem solve." So I convinced the parents, and they raised so much sand, the superintendent had to let those sixth graders take pre-algebra.
Wow.
Yes, yes, yes. And they all did well. Of course, you know, some people said I shouldn't have done that. And you know how people are going to talk about you. I said, but I'm about the kids. I'm not about the teachers. I want these kids to learn. All right. Yes. And so think about Katherine Johnson. Back in the day, the lady who calculated the trajectory to the moon, okay? In fact, those, I hate to say, but those scientists that were working with her couldn't figure it out. She could, because she went to college at 16. So somebody saw Katherine Johnson back in the day and said, "Lady, you are smart. We're going to propel you forward." And she was a mathematician. A Black woman, and as a mathematician back then, was like a gold mine. But now nobody really knew about her until the movie was made. Okay.
Isn't that something?
Yes. And she had done quite well over the years. I knew her when I was at Hampton University, and I just thought she was a smart woman. Oh, yes. Okay. Very smart. So I always say, push your kids as far as they can go. And then the second thing you want to do, I talk about math, but they got to read. Because if you can't read and can't write, you can't do mathematics.
That's right.
That's right. You know, you heard me talk about the newspaper. That was a reading program that I developed for first graders now. I'm talking first graders back in 1965 and 66, when nobody was even thinking about that. Back in 1967, after I came back from a tour of Germany, I wrote a proposal in the Washington, D.C. school district to teach problem solving to first graders. Even my principal threatened to fire me because I'm using calculators in the classroom. And I'm saying, "Come on in, sir, and watch what I'm doing." So I was teaching problem solving, but they thought the kids weren't going to learn to add 3 plus 2. So I started at the concrete level. We had, let's say, 5 balls in one group and 8 balls in another group. If you put them together, how many balls you have? You got 5 and 8, which are 13. So now we go to the calculator. Let's put 5 plus means put together, plus 8. What do you get? Oh, yes. So after they saw what I was doing, they simmered down. But my colleagues were anti me, saying they'll never learn. I said, yes, they will. Watch. Well, guess what? And I'm bragging. When it was test time, these kids took the hour test of basic skills way back. The students in my class scored higher than any other students in mathematics in the school. So the principal said, my God, what happened? I said, I taught them how to solve problems. I didn't just teach them basic facts. They had to learn the basic facts, but then they had to apply it to solve the problems. And the test is problem solving. So if you teach basic facts all the time, and the kids come to problem solving, what are they going to do? Not know what to do. So, you know, you have to know how to be an excellent teacher. So my book is about being an excellent teacher, trying something that nobody else has tried. Be a change agent.
Oh, I like that.
Yes.
I like that. That's what you are, Dr. Scott. You are a change agent from listening to the things that you have done in teaching. Oh my goodness, I am just like in awe. I love it. But now we're going to switch to your other book because you just slipped that one in on me. For women only, tips on enhancing your total image. So I'm going to say this. We have a lot of female teachers, okay? So I'm looking at this book coming as a companion also out of the teaching book, simply because of the fact that it's all, like you said, it's all about how you carry yourself. So what prompted you to write this book?
Oh my goodness. Well, actually, to be honest with you, I started this book about 15 years ago, but I never could get myself together to finish it. And I stopped and I thought about, oh, I want to be a teacher. So I wrote that one first. You know, it took some time to get that one out. Yes. And then after I finished that one, and I met Mrs. DeWitt and Mrs. Noble, and I told Noble about it, and she just started pushing me. Oh, she was making me feel so bad. Dr. Scott, I know you can do it. You're smart. And she said all those words, and I started believing them. All right. And so I said, well, women need to know how to keep themselves organized, how to enhance their total beauty. All women are beautiful, but some of us have to enhance it a little better or a little differently. How do you improve your attitude? See, your attitude has a lot to do with your whole persona. Okay.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that. All right. How do you choose your clothes? What to wear when? What to wear where? All right. And I talk about your busy women, especially if you're at the corporate level or even a teacher. You know, they are very busy too. Hang out your clothes at night. When I was teaching at the elementary school, I had 3 daughters. Every night I would hang out 2 outfits for each little girl. And I would say, choose which one you want to wear tomorrow. So I gave them the illusion that they were choosing their own clothes. But I want to put out, yes. So that's then good. I would go hang out mine. If you need pressing, your shoes might need shining, and all of that. You lay out everything, your jewelry, your flower if you're going to wear it. Everything. So to next morning, all you have to do is what? Shower, get your clothes on, go to work, and you look good. And when you look good, you feel good, and you act good. And people respect you more because they think you know more. Believe it or not. And I use Nancy Pelosi. Look at old Nancy, a little Nancy. I call her little Nancy on the air, but I love her, all right? And I said, look at her. Nancy Pelosi looks good every day.
Every day.
She takes the time. Or somebody helps her, I don't know, but with her position, somebody. But you don't have to have somebody to do that. You can do it yourself. But because you're so busy, you have to know how to keep yourself organized. Then you talk about etiquettes, making introductions. Knowing how to do an appropriate handshake. Although I know with the pandemic, we're not doing a lot of handshaking. But if you do like I do, when I go out in public, I wear gloves. All right. Now, where did I learn that? I have to tell you, if you ever noticed, the Queen of England wears gloves out in public.
Always.
So back in my day, we belonged to an officers' wives club. All the officers of the military on each base had an officers' wives club. So we went to tea once a month, and all the ladies wore gloves and, you know, all that fancy stuff. So I said, oh yes, these gloves can keep my hands clean. All right. So in my mind, my gloves are keeping my hands clean, but my gloves are matching my outfit, white or black or whatever color you want to wear. Then I talk about place setting. Do you know a lot of professional women go to banquets today and do not know where the bread plate is? If you're at a banquet and the person next to you decides, oh, the bread plate is on my right, and they pick it up, I mean, they start using it, that throws out everybody at the table.
That's
Your
right.
bread plate is always on your left. But most people don't know that. So what I have been doing over the last 15 or 20 years, when I go to a banquet, after I sit down, the next thing I do is claim the bread plate. So that puts the rest of it for the table, because now you can't get mine. So yours has to be on your left. So you got that.
First thing I do is clean the bread plate. Oh my God.
That's right. I mean, something as simple as that. Right? But if you don't know, you don't know. So that's in my little book. I have, I think, 130 pages, and it's only a 5x8, and it's on Amazon. Will be on Amazon, and this sells for $20. Of course, this was on Amazon too, and this sells for $20. And I also talk about some creating your personal style.
Yes.
Kind of clothes fit you better. And I point out, although some women may say, where do you find coat dresses today? But a coat dress can fit any woman, regardless of size, height, or whatever. A coat dress makes you look good. So if you still can find them, which I can find them, and I still wear them because I like them, all right? And I talk about how you match your shoes with your dress. You've seen some ladies out with a black dress on and white shoes. Well, they don't know any better. They don't know if you got a black dress on, you should have on black shoes, all right? Now, if you got on a red dress, you can have on black shoes, or you can wear red shoes.
Yes.
All right? Now, if you have on a navy blue suit and you can't afford to have navy blue shoes, then you wear black shoes. A black shoe goes with everything.
Everything.
So you have those little things in my book. Then I have some miscellaneous things you ought to know, all right? Some things you ought to know is always keep some money in your pocket, all right? You never feel broke. But I stretch it out to say, keep $100 somewhere on you at all times. Not necessarily to spend, but in case of an emergency, you got money. Plus, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you have some money. Now, the people who have lots of money, you know, you might have your credit card, or you might, you know, however. But if you don't have a credit card, you always keep money on you. But even so, I still say, if you have a credit card, even an American Express Platinum card, have some money on you. I was in Italy, and I pulled out my American Express credit card because I was purchasing something. It was declined. Well, of course, now, the first thing people think, if it's declined, you are just fronting or you are pretending.
Yes.
So of course, I said to the manager of the store, I said, let's call American Express. I'm in Italy. I picked up the phone and I said, American Express, I'm in Italy and I'm in such and such a store trying to buy such and such. And my card was declined. They said, what? I said, yes. She said, it's not your card. I said, well, what is it? She said, I don't know, but I will look. I said, well, talk to the manager. It turned out it was his machine because my card was good, all right? And see, I always say to people, before you travel over abroad, out of the country, or even out of the state, make sure what you have is good so you don't have to be embarrassed, all right?
Yes.
Well, at first I was embarrassed, but then when I found out that it was his machine, I still couldn't buy the stuff because his machine was not hooked up for American Express, and he didn't know it. So it turned out my daughter had a Visa card, so she put it on the Visa card, and I later, you know, paid her back. But the point is, he should have known if I pull out my American Express card and said I'm gonna use my American Express card, he should have known that his machine did not take it, or maybe he didn't know it until then.
Yeah, he maybe did.
But I always say have money on you, so because green paper is always good.
It's always good.
Yes, then of course, in the end, I give a summary and my references and my hope that the book will inspire you to want to enhance your toe beauty. And then I have the B's of success. The B's of success are always good because it tells you to be kind to people, be wise, be well respected, be reserved, be still, be successful. All the B's that I could think of around, be self-regulated, be well informed, you know, because how you speak, how you look determines how people treat you.
That is so true.
Believe it or not, when I'm traveling, I dress up, okay?
Oh,
And
yes.
I have been put in first class with
Yes.
a low class ticket because
Yes.
of just the way I look, all right? And so I always say, always look good, you feel
Yes.
good, and plus you look good to yourself.
Yes.
And if you look good to yourself, other people think you look good too.
You
So
know, I was working at a business and they used to ask me, why did I come in every day dressed the way I did?
Mhm.
And I had my heels on and you know, sometimes I'd have a suit, but they wanted to know why, you know, because the type of industry I was working in,
Mhm.
I didn't need to dress like that. And I told them the location and the industry does not dictate my style.
That's right. Mhm.
I've had this, I've always dressed. I don't dress down for you. And I dress down, I'm dressing down for me. And it's not about where I am. It's just the way I carry myself. You
That's
know,
right. And you always look good.
always look good.
And I tell young women, if you have to ask somebody else, how do you look? You are not looking good to yourself. You got to look good for yourself first. And a lot of women say, well, how do I look? Well, it doesn't matter. If you like it, it's all right with me. All right. I don't dictate to you what you should wear. But I do say to women, whatever you're wearing, and you don't have to wear expensive clothes to look good.
No.
Believe it or not, you can go right into Walmart and buy you a $10 dress, go to Payless shoes and buy you some $10 shoes, go to dollar store and buy you some dollar stockings, go to the hair store and buy you a $1 flower and put it on. You will be looking good.
That's right.
So if you buy a blue dress out of Walmart, go to Payless and buy you some blue shoes. If they don't have any blue shoes, then buy a pair of black shoes. All right. And then, of course, you know, you look good and you go right to the store and buy you some earrings. If you don't have any pearls, any real pearls, culture pearls, buy the beads. They look just alike and your friends won't know the difference.
I know that's right. Dr. Scott, you have so much wisdom and tidbits. I'm going to say that you're old school, but sometimes people need to know the old school. Okay. Everything isn't always modern in the way we carry ourselves. So we're coming down to the end of the interview. I have one question, and I always ask every writer, if you could describe yourself in one word, what would that one word be?
Committed. All right.
I'm
committed to whatever it is that I do. But of course, I could go on and give some more words, and I still think I'm energetic at my age. All right. Although you all call me old school and a senior, I don't even believe in that. Okay. So I'm still committed to whatever it is that I'm doing. Yes.
And when I say old school, I mean fundamental.
Yes.
I would say fundamental, because that's what people will say about me. You're old school. But these were fundamental things that were instilled in us.
Yes, that's right.
That went down through generations.
And believe it or not, a lot of women don't know this, Sister DeWitt. In our society today, you have to look your best because business people are looking for people who have a pleasant image.
Yes.
Right? Yes. They are not going to, and I tell the young people all the time, when you interview for a job, you have to speak correct English. All right? Because you have to live in the world of work.
Yes.
And you can't go out there saying slang words like you talk to your friends. You need to know how to code switch. All right.
Yes.
But of course, I make my students talk correctly all the time. They use correct English. All right.
You must.
Because they are going to be teachers. And if you are teaching, your students are going to imitate you. And they are going to behave just the way you behave.
That's right.
As a good teacher, there's still room out there for good teachers in our society.
Yes, ma'am. So now tell us, as you said, where we can get I Want to Be a Teacher and Women Only. I know they're on Amazon. Am I correct?
Yes, both of the books are on Amazon. Let me clarify that. The For Women Only has not gone live yet, but it will go live this weekend. So it will be on Amazon. I Want to Be a Teacher is also on Amazon, but you can also get it from Archway Publishing Company. You can Google that, but Amazon is just as good. But if you don't want to go through Amazon, the price is the same, $20 for the softback cover. The hardback cover for I Want to Be a Teacher is $30, but I find many people like the softback better.
Okay.
So, all right, thank you, Sister DeWitt. I thoroughly enjoyed the interview, and I certainly hope that everybody sees it and know to purchase my book. All right.
It will.
I hope somebody sees it and decides we want to make a movie. That sounds
okay.
good.
I'm all for that, Dr. Scott. Listen, I want to ask you a question. Do you have an email address if anybody wants to contact you to do a symposium or anything of that nature?
Oh, yes, by all means. Okay.
And listen, and Dr. Scott, you can give a telephone number, your 1-800 number or your 1-866 telephone.
Yes. Well, I don't mind people calling me because if I don't know who it is, I will return the call. So it's okay. Yes. My email address is Diara, that's Dr. C as in Charlie, G as in God, Scott, SCOTT, @gmail.com. That's Dr. CG Scott @gmail.com. All right. So, and of course, my phone number, I don't mind people calling 610-864-7903. That's not my personal number that I answer at all times. So that's my business number. All right. So
that's the number to the office.
Yes.
Do you have a website?
Yes, I do have a website, and let me give it to you. As a matter of fact, let me pull it up here in my notebook so I can make sure I have it. Oh, I forgot to tell you, my website, you can buy my book through my website too. The website is G as in George and H-eduassociates.org. That's GNH-EDUAssociates.org. And the email address for that also is gnh.education@gmail.com. So if you want to contact me through there, you may, or my business number 610-864-7903. And thank you so very much, Mrs. DeWitt. I certainly have enjoyed it. And thanks again.
Okay, listeners, we thank you for listening with us tonight. We have had a great time, inspiration, wisdom flowing from Dr. Cathine Scott. Please, if you're deciding to be a teacher, pick up the book, I Want to Be a Teacher. Watch this. Even if you are a teacher and you need some new tidbits, pick up the book. So listen, Dr. Scott, we thank you. You take care and have a great one. This is Becky DeWitt, and we are the Ready Writers.